Welcome to East Coast DNA. Today we have Ian Alistair Gosbee as a guest. So welcome, Ian.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for reaching out. I was listening to your new album. I guess it's out in a couple days, so probably out by the time people are watching this episode.
Yeah, yeah. I'm excited, pumped.
So this
Number
is your
6.
sixth album.
Yeah, I can't
Ray of
believe I'm.
Sunshine. I think everyone that can see this episode instead of just listening to the audio can see your background is thematic. You get album artwork there.
Yeah, yeah. Number 6 is out. Well, we'll be out soon, if not out time you watch this. And yeah, it's you know, recording during the COVID times. So it's yeah, it's I'm very proud of it. It's very positive and uplifting during a time, during the COVID time where, you definitely need some positivity and enlightenment going in your life.
I definitely noticed that the music for itself is pretty upbeat, but lyrically it was definitely positive, optimistic overall theme. There wasn't any real negativity pulled into any of the lyrical content. There wasn't. Well, it's definitely not a dark album. You definitely are looking at the lighter side of things, which is great. It's a great change of pace for people, especially like you say, from the era that we just came out of, and all of the things we've had happen since. Actually, we've like in here in Nova Scotia, like coming out of lockdowns, we went into hurricanes and wildfires, which I'm sure lots of regions have had those, but they're not commonplace in our region. So definitely, there's a lot of negative things out there, so people are looking for some positivity out there.
Yeah, I put out during the COVID, I put out an album called, it was a side project called Turn Down. And it was going to be a little side band I have. And it was very heavy metal and playing guitar really fast and drums crazy.
Hmm.
And lyrically, it was very depressing. Like, and it's very, I don't know, everyone has like struggles in life, inflation and food prices and your daily lives. It's very easy to get in that mindset because,
Yeah.
I'm broke and I have no money and how am I gonna feed my children? And, you know, so with this album, it was lyrically like, let's get out of that mindset, have a positive attitude. It's celebrate life, right? So it's yeah, it was a nice little change from the turn down stuff.
So speaking of that, we're kind of stepping outside of the genre of what you're known for with your solo. If we go back a little piece, you had some origins in Kiss cover band.
Yeah,
Was it Dressed to Kill? You were Gene Simmons. Are you still with that outfit?
no, so I started Dress to Kill. I'm the founder, I guess, at one time.
Hmm.
Um, when I moved to Lower Sackville, I joined a cover band, and I already had a Kiss costume. And I used to do all the bookings, and I booked a Halloween show in my hometown of Amherst, and we all dressed up as Kiss. The band was called One Lady Driver, so that's where the two comes in because it was like the second band
Yeah.
dress two, so TO, it was the number two, Kill. So yeah, that was fun. We did that for a number of years. I think there's one original member left. Um, I found it, when a member would leave, I would find a replacement. But I was starting to get pigeonholed as I'm the Kiss guy,
Hmm.
right? So I needed to step out, become more of a solo artist, not be known as the Kiss guy or the tongue. So that's why I kind of, you know, uh,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
left the band. Yeah, and I've
Flex a
been in
different
other
muscle.
tribute bands over the time, but I mean, Kiss is such a popular band, but people still like, hey, you were Gene Simmons in the Kiss tribute. I'm like, yep, yep, yep.
Yeah, no, they're definitely they're so iconic that I think they're always going to be around in some facet. Now, forgive me for tying some of it back into the Kiss part too, but just because you obviously would have some fandom to be able to be in a tribute band in the first place. So, do any of your musical interests parallel with any of the type of solo careers? Not like the Kiss solo albums specifically, but some of the stuff that like Ace Frehley and Peter Criss have done independently over the years probably does sound wise have some parallels to your album. So is that a conscious influence or are you a fan of that type of thing?
That's interesting. So I grew up on Kiss, and every Halloween it seemed I was some member of Kiss, one another, the drummer.
Hmm.
My first second instrument's drums before I got into guitars and bass. Um, but Gene Simmons was definitely like, he was the flashy one.
Yeah, yeah.
But then switching over to drums, I really admired Peter Criss. Some of the early stuff he did was bang on, and he was also, he was a jazz drummer, and it kind of like, hey, there's not just rock music out there. Let's check out some jazz. And I was in the jazz band and stage band and concert band in school, and that really branched out my music horizon. Uh, Back in high school, we went to Bermuda as a band trip, and I was playing drums, Metallica and all this, and the local folks were really into reggae music, and it really opened up like, hey, that's pretty cool beats going on, and it really allowed me to branch out as an artist to appreciate all styles of music. Um, so I've been labeled as a crossover genre person, and I like that because it allows me to be creative. It's innovative. You don't get bored in one style, I guess. So
Hmm.
it's great. A lot of these songs on the album are so influenced from Celtic to some flavor of country in there with steel guitar. I get bagpipes in some songs, so it's very diverse, which for me I like because I can collaborate with other folks too, right? Like I can reach out to a country person or I can reach out to a rock person and yeah, it's fun. I like doing that.
So on the new Ray of Sunshine album is like you play multiple instruments yourself as well. So is
Yep.
the studio recording mainly yourself or are there guest artists throughout?
The steel guitar had recorded in Nashville, but the rest is all me. Yeah.
Yeah, I picked up the bagpipes there too when I was listening to the album. So I knew that you played a little bit of bagpipes and I knew you had other instruments. So I just wasn't sure if you did the full whole onslaught of because there's a lot of overlaid instruments in those songs
Yeah.
too. Like there's a
Yeah.
lot to them.
Yeah, and I get kind of carried away sometimes. So shout out to John Murphy, who been recording with since my career, since 2007. Um, I would come in and I would, always do a scratch acoustic guitar, and then I put the drums on it, and then every week it would be like, oh, I bring in a new instrument. Look what I get today. I get a mandolin, or I get something else, and he'd be like, okay, we have a lot of instruments on this song, and it's really hard for him to mix. It's like, holy, there's 12 tracks going on here, and
Yeah.
like four guitars. Yeah, but
So when
yeah,
you get out, like I do see a little bit of your traction online. I'm aware of you popping up in some of the East Coast charts. I've seen your name here and there over the last couple of years. I know that I think it was 2011 when you started the solo career. Is that about the right time
sounds about
frame?
right. Yeah, it's kind of a blur, but
So
yeah,
when you started, you went right into albums and released like three in the first couple of years.
which was ridiculous. Yeah, so I was still in the Kiss tribute, and I would oh, I recorded like 40 songs in a couple months. And so being a newbie, how do you promote? I didn't know how to promote that. I just had all this
Sure.
music built up. And then I had three albums. So like rather than release like a double album, I just did individual albums. But they're all like the first one was very I had a guest fiddle player, and so which we cut a video called Rock and Roll Rodeo. That was kind of country-ish, and then the next album I didn't get any traction on because I just didn't have enough time to promote it. So I
Hmm.
might revisit that. That was the rock album with a little bit of DJ, you know, bass tracks in it. And then the last album was The Life Gets in the Way, which won some awards. That was the most I could focus my time on. So that the first two albums really didn't get the love that I wish they
Sure.
had. But yeah, that's where it all started.
And
Yeah.
so you spaced out your fourth and fifth album a little bit, but then we, as you
Yeah.
referenced, we ran into the whole world crisis and everybody having lockdown. So in that time frame, obviously, I mean, you're insinuating it with our conversation anyway. You were kind of learning the ropes and learned a different pacing, at least as far as the releases, maybe not on the writing side.
Yeah.
But did COVID kind of line up with the timing of you slowing the pace down a little bit anyway?
No, so I got about 200 songs in the queue. Um, yeah, I kind of just like pace it now. Like there's a release process, but
Hmm.
I now learned like you release an album, you do promotion, you do a tour on it, and then at the same time you're recording the new stuff. So it's usually a 3-year cycle now.
Hmm.
And that's another thing is like people kind of forget about you in 3 years, right? Like
Yeah,
so
without
in the
extensive touring and digital
yeah,
promotions and everything like these days, it's, I hate to say it, but there's saturation out there in the market for anything that you might like. It's
yeah.
not just limited to music. Anything that's available in a digital format is so saturated out there that you have to look to find what you really like and put some type of boundaries on where you're going to stop.
Yeah, and with this album, it was kind of like a rebirth, like a reboot. Like,
Hmm.
the Life Gets in the Way. No, the Life is Good album.
Hmm.
Literally, that came out in 2019. I had I was doing a TV show. I was the first guest of 2020, and then like 2 months later, COVID hit. So
Yeah.
I was just getting into the promotion, and then boom. So here's so this album's like it's a reboot. Here's a rebirth of a lot of singing in news of different characters. But yeah,
And so when you perform these live, then where you will be, you're back in a position, like you said, kind of a rebirth for the career, that
yeah,
you're in a position where you can go out and tour extensively, time permitting. And we have a lot of that going on in our region. So when you get out there to perform in front of people, where the recording is you on multiple instruments, what do you do in that situation? Do you have a regular backup band, or you go find some key players here and there?
yeah. That's a great question. It depends on the venue and if it's a festival setting or if it's like a coffee shop setting. It really depends. It's always me on acoustic guitar. I love to strap on an electric guitar and just rip it, but you know, I remember doing that once on the acoustic. It's like you're playing and you're just by yourself and you get into a solo. It's like it's like yeah, it's just kind of like dead air. You just hear a guitar. No, 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 no.
Hmm.
So it's very like the global television interview I had with a performance. Like I don't play that whole solo section. I don't even play it.
Hmm.
Or if it's a crowd setting, I'll get them to sing along in that solo or
Oh,
something like
okay,
that.
yeah.
So crowd anticipation. But if it's a festival setting, yeah, I'll hire backing musicians or whatnot.
And so also from Ray of Sunshine, is there like a lead single that you're promoting off of this one?
It depends on the station
Hmm.
or what it is, because it is a little bit of cross genre. So the Ray of Sunshine is definitely the lead single.
Hmm.
Have a little fun with it. It has a steel guitar in it. It's got a country flair to it, so that can be on the country channel, right? And then so it's very adult contemporary music.
Yeah, and I did notice listening to the full album, like when you listen to it from start to finish, there's a transition a little bit between the genres, but it does kind
Yeah.
of like ebbs and flows as you go through it. Like it fits together as a good collection, but I can definitely pick out where, oh, this would do good in this type of format, and this would do good in this type of format. So is that also a conscious choice as far as a marketing thing, or it's just an expression of all of the different facets of who Ian is?
It's really who I am, but from a marketing purpose, it's kind of pure gold, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you can hit different channels and avenues of the ray of sunshine could be on one type of station, and the song Shoebox is very that was a leftover song I had from 10 years, 15 years ago. That could have been on one of my earlier rock albums. So that's a rocking tune, right? And
Yeah,
then
when I
I
was
could,
listening to it, I actually wanted to hear you play that at Shoebox, which is just 5 minutes from here, the Shoebox Cantina and Shoebox Studios. So
yeah,
I was like, that would be great to hear performed at the actual Shoebox. Just I like to see thematic things. So
yeah, and I definitely like to get up your way. It's been a number of years.
hmm
Th Thistle, is that still there?
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah,
still
okay. Yeah, I used to play there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They I don't get over as often as I used to, but I think they still have like a regular Thursday night performance. So it's,
Um,
like you say, usually a solo artist with an acoustic guitar, maybe some accompaniment.
yeah, cool. Yeah.
So where would people be running into you in a live performance over the next few months? Like we're going into hopefully a very nice summer. It's a little rocky start with everything happening, but there's a lot going on, so there's going to be a lot of people out and about.
I just tell people to keep checking my website, my socials of where I'm playing.
Hmm.
I'm in the process of moving, so I didn't really book too much for the summer because I'm
Sure.
moving and it's fun to move. Not. And then yeah, the fall is when the promotion's starting. I'm in Montreal for Halloween in November. Got a
Cool.
lot of gigs up that way. And yeah, just keep checking the website. Yeah, it this
Awesome.
something new comes along, I'll put it up on the site.
And
Yeah.
is there music video content at all, like on the horizon, maybe?
So I did, I think, 6 lyric videos.
Hmm.
So yeah, it'd be nice to get back into the video format. I had a couple video like live action person videos over the years. Those folks all moved to Toronto, so
Yeah.
maybe when I get to Toronto, I might hook up with them. You never know.
Yeah, maybe
I always
bump
try to
over
do,
after Montreal or something.
yeah, Montreal would be cool. And then I worked with other folks like claymation and stop motion Lego videos over the years. So yeah, I always like to do something fun.
A lot of opportunities to flex creativity when you're kind of keeping it a little bit DIY. So you have that control. You can come up with an idea and you can
Yeah,
pursue that and actually see something get created out of it. It's a common theme with most of our guests, but I mean it's great to see out there, and it's wonderful to see that people not only have the opportunity, but they're having varied levels of success, but success regardless, right?
yeah, totally.
So in your circles, like I said, I do know of you, but I don't think we've actually met in any of the events over the past couple of years. So I'm curious, in your circles, is there other artists that would frequently cross paths with Ian Gosbee?
Oh, I cross paths over the years with so many wonderful and talented folks, right? I have a video with Christina Martin and I and some other folks. We played at a coffee shop. And
Cool.
yeah, I'd love to get that up on the internet sometime. They figure out how to get the video off some old tape video.
Send me
Who
an
else?
email after we're
Yeah.
recording. I have a ridiculous amount of options for converting things over in the other corner here. So
Oh, nice. Nice.
there's a
Yeah.
possibility I might be able to help you out with that.
Yeah. Nice. I opened up for Riverfest that had lots of artists. I had David Miles just
Yeah.
before he blew up really well, Classified and Enter Ninja and
Well, both David and Christina have their own podcasts as well, which are actually I'm a fan of both of those podcasts.
yeah.
They're not as crazy with me as releasing a unreal amount so nobody can listen to all of them, but they definitely both have top-notch podcasts. They're a fan of them both, so shout out to both of them if they happen to be listening.
Yeah. No, I reached out to like JP Cormier, a couple other folks. Yeah, we'll work on something eventually.
Yeah,
I gotta, yeah. So that's the next project. So the thing of being an artist, you're always looking at for the next thing. And
yeah.
I'm already, I already have one song. It's actually a blues song because hey, someone wrote me and said, "You don't have any blues albums or a blues song." And I'm like, "That's right. Let's get to it." So I did a blues album. I had a saxophone player on it. So
Cool.
that's cool. I never had a saxophone player on a song before. What else is on that? Saxophone and something else.
Saxophones
Yeah.
and guitars keep coming up this past year on different episodes. So it seems to be everybody's looking for a little bit of a change up in what they're playing, and those are two instruments that I keep hearing come back up as a guitar and
Nice.
sax, which I don't think I heard them as frequently since like mid '80s or something like
Yeah.
that. It's
Yeah. And then it's funny the mainstream songs like 80s because I DJ as well and for
hmm
different events and I'm very familiar with the mainstream market and that sound's coming back in, right? That 80s synthesizer,
yeah, yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's a lot of synth just pretty much every band that has been an independent artist on this podcast over the past year, if they don't already have synthesizers as part of their band, they have
Yeah.
guest synth on probably all their singles, definitely on their albums. So
And
it's definitely a change.
it is funny, like thinking about different artists like Christina Martin and uh what's her name? Ray Mai?
May?
Ray May, yeah.
Yeah.
I DJ'd her what her sister's wedding.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Um, they all started out like very acoustic guitar roots,
hmm
right? And then it's cool to see how they evolved into like I wouldn't say a pop, but they had that synthesizer flair in it too, right? They have a little bit of a like a disco beat or something in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It definitely it's adding to a little bit more of a upbeat vibe overall to a lot of the music that's out there lately, but it's not a bad thing. It's like
no,
as you say, there's I definitely like a song that I can relate to, and some of the darker stuff is a little too easy to relate to sometimes, but
yeah,
as you say, there's a lot of that out there, so it's nice to see a different vibe and maybe flex a different emotion from some of the music. So it definitely a little treat to have something different in the mix.
yeah, for sure.
So you say if anyone wants to keep up with what's going on with you, is your website is the best place to go?
Yeah, so I relaunched my website, it's iangosbee.com. I've been more active on Facebook.
hmm
I can't keep up with all the different social media stuff. I'm
Yeah.
not very good at it, I will admit that. Um, and I'm kind of a private person, so
hmm
I don't post like a lot of stuff. I try to keep it separate. Like I have my personal Facebook and I have a band artist Facebook, and sometimes they do cross over a little, but I try not to put like too much stuff on the band
Yeah,
stuff.
I definitely recommend people try to keep them separate to give
Yeah,
you the opportunity to be able to kind of take a step back when you need to, and to your point, like to kind of keep your private. But I will definitely confess to anyone watching this knows my Facebook has definitely bled over. So
yeah,
that's I think that's how we ended up chatting actually was through Facebook there too. So definitely a battle I lost. My Facebook is public domain at this point. So
yeah, yeah. Anything that's on there, it's there forever.
yeah, exactly.
Hence, you saw the Kiss stuff. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know.
So, as we wrap up this recording, I'd like to treat the fans of the episode here to maybe a sampling off of your new album.
Sure.
I don't know if you have a specific preference.
No, I mean you can do the title track. It's a good like opener of what the album's kind of like, and
Yeah.
then it takes you on a little journey of jumping in, getting your feet wet, to looking at memories and the shoebox, to becoming a new father with Grace. I did the Highlands as a tribute to my mother. Um, you know, then the next song is Makes You Stronger, of course. And yeah, I have a lot of like upbeat, bring it. It's kind of like I do martial arts, so it's like, bring it. It's both like kind of a sport anthem, like get you
Bring It
pumped
that
up.
jumped out to me specifically. It has a little bit more of maybe an alt rock radio type vibe to it.
Yeah,
So yeah, that
yeah,
that one popped out as a little bit of a difference as I was listening to. Like I said, how it kind of went up and down for vibes. That one
yeah,
popped out specifically at me. So I'll definitely be giving that a re-listen afterwards.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so you mentioned a few of them there as you were going through it. You can continue through the track list if you wish, like where you have a little bit of background behind each of the songs. Are they all based on personal stories?
It's definitely a self autobiography type album. My wife goes, I was not a great mood or something, and she's like, "Aren't you a ray of sunshine?" And like, there's an album or a song at least.
Yeah.
So I start writing something completely opposite of my bad mood that day, and then this kind of snowballed. I took some, besides the shoebox song that was been around for a long time, the self-reflection of, my mother was a Highland dancer, and we did we were up in New Glasgow lots of times of the Highland Games there, and
Hmm.
Anganish, and my father plays the bagpipes. So that was a nice tribute to her. Makes you stronger, like you can get down to the lowest point of your life, and this sometimes you just gotta look at your inner self. Maybe there's a higher power in the world, but something that makes you stronger. Um, yeah, have a little fun with it. I was talking to my dad, and he just mentioned something about, oh, just have a little fun with it. And I'm like, that's cool. Let's try that. And he's, he just turned 85, and he listened to bluegrass and bagpipes and old school country. I thought it was nice just to have a little bit of a country flair to that song. And
Yeah.
yeah,
And did you put like, does it work then like as kind of a concept album? Is there a sequence to it, or
great.
there's just a lot of reflection lyrically?
No, it's not a concept where there's the same character through it, but
Hmm.
when you mention that, it could work as a concept or a very good musical play,
Hmm.
theaterish. Yeah,
Well, keep that
good
in
point.
mind when you're looking at putting more content out. Maybe you can kind of keep a thematic thing go through whatever you do for social media or music videos or whatever
Yeah,
the new version of a combination of those is called these days, because it's definitely the music videos are overlapping the social media
Y- yeah,
way
and I
more than
did
they ever did.
I did try to do that with the lyric video, kind of keep it one style, like a chalkboard style.
Hmm.
Uh, a little bit of a storyline to it, but no, that's a good point. It could be a very good concept. Hmm, never thought of
So
that.
we will give people a listen to Ray of Sunshine, and it's not available in a physical media, but it's available on all streaming service as of June 19th.
Yep,
Awesome. So people can take a look out for that, and we'll have some links down in our description. And we'll all be keeping an eye out for hopefully some new material into the fall, and very excited to see what you have coming next.
yes, it's going to be an exciting time for sure. It's always fun.
Well,
Life is good, and keep it fun.
thanks for reaching out. And when it comes time that you have some new stuff to promote in the fall, feel free to reach out again. Maybe we could do a little follow up and hear how your summer went, and maybe get a taste of what the new is.
Sounds good.
All right.
Perfect.
Thanks again, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, you start to believe you don't have you can do is move less and finish the race. You know what it's like to be tired and be a shell of yourself. Soon all your burdens will be gone. Hold your head up, move on. It's a miracle I made it through, all because of you. Now everything is gonna change. All the miles I had run, don't look back on what went wrong. My world has been rearranged. You're my ray of sunshine. You're my ray of sunshine. So take on the journey